And we'll start in a comfortable seated position. So just finding that easy seat, allowing the shoulders to roll away from the ears, beginning to focus in on the breath, on the inhales and the exhales, allowing the breath to move in through the nose, down the throat, the chest, into the belly, and as it reverses from the belly, chest, throat, and out through the nose. Keeping this breath going, knowing they can always come back to it, and taking any modifications as needed. Placing a hand on the heart and one on the belly, we set our intention. So I've been watching the reruns for Call the Midwife, and they have such good quotes. So the quote today is, "Perfection is what we discover in each other, what we see reflected back." So maybe holding on to this beautiful expression of perfection, knowing that perfection doesn't mean for it to be perfect, but it's the intention behind it that makes it perfect. Releasing this intention whatever way feels most natural. We'll allow the arms to reach up overhead, reaching up high. Exhale the hands down to heart center, interlacing the fingers, pushing that palm down and away and up. Taking a breath in and the breath out, we come back down. Moving at your breath pace, breathing in and out, and beginning to stretch out the shoulders. Find a little warmth in the body. Maybe even a little movement side to side if that feels right. And the next time the arms are up, keep them up, take that exhale out, release the hand. So right hand is coming down, left arm is reaching up and over. Inhale, reach up high. Exhale, left hand down, right arm up and over. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, fold. Rounding the back ever so slightly to get that release in the low back. We'll make our way into our tabletop, just rolling on forward. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. The spine is nice and long. Allowing ourselves to ground down and to begin to flow into our version of our perfect cat-cow. So maybe you just find the sway of the back forward and back, or you express this cat-cow in an exaggerated form. Small sway side to side or circles. Allowing your idea of a perfect cat-cow to come forward. Even yourself out. Meeting back in that neutral spine. We'll tuck the toes under and lift the hips up high, downward facing dog. Begin pedaling out the feet, finding some movement here. Stretching out the back of the body. And then settle on in into your down dog. Allowing the hips to reach high and a small bend in the elbows. Guiding the heels down, we take a breath in and a smooth breath out. Bend the knees now and start making your way towards the top of the mat. Maybe little tiptoes or bigger steps. A big bend in the knees, allow that belly to really rest on the tops of the legs. Left hand down, bend that left knee, reach that right arm up towards the sky. Our next breath, we switch. So replacing that hand with the right, bend that right knee, left leg slightly straightens, reach that left arm up high. Exhale, release that left hand back towards the earth. We take an inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold over. Inhale all the way up to standing, reaching up high. Exhale those hands down to heart center. Taking 2 breaths here. And after that second breath, we reach the arms up high. We find a side bend on over towards the right. Come back to center, side bend to the left. Back up to center, reach up high. Exhale, fold on over those legs. Inhale, we come up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands. Step that right foot back, low runner's lunge. Shine that heart forward as you settle in. Right knee drops on down, untuck the toes. Inhale those arms up overhead. Finding your version of perfect, whether the arms are down and the heart is shining forward, or you're crunching that belly in, finding some strength. Find your idea of the perfect posture and choose to settle. We exhale the hands on down, framing the foot. The hips are going on back, left toes up towards the sky. Drag that left heel, humbling over that left leg, just gently. Moving back into that left foot, staying nice and low. We tuck the back toes under, lift that back leg. Seal that right foot on down and allow that left hand to come inside of that left foot. Right arm is reaching up high. You might be up on those fingertips of that left hand. Might be warm enough, maybe not. And breathe. Pushing with that left hand, lift that torso on up, warrior 2. Inhale, breathe in, lift the arms up, straighten that left leg. All 10 toes are facing the long side of the mat. And as you exhale, allow the toes to face out, heels facing in, and settle into your goddess squat. Just embracing this stillness for 3, for 2. 1, we lift up halfway. And that left hand is making its way inside of that right leg. All 10 toes are facing now the back of the room. We're facing the back of the mat. Left hand plants down, right arm is reaching up high in our little lunge. Exhale that right hand on down, framing that foot. Let's step that right foot back to meet the left, high plank. Coming down onto the knees, allow that heart to shine forward. Cow pose. And as we exhale, we push the ground away, curve the spine into our cat, and start floating on back into our child's pose. Noticing as the hips become heavy. And the breath stays steady. Let's roll back up into our tabletop. We'll walk the hands about a handprint forward and then drop the hips down. This is a funky version of an up dog. This is a little too much for the low back. I want you to push the hips back and come down onto the forearms and then gently bring that belly down. We roll back up into that tabletop. Hands are back underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes under and lift the hips up high, downward facing dog. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Finding the strength in that right leg, left leg becomes nice and light. Reach it up towards the sky. Exhale, take that step forward, low runner's lunge. Shine that heart forward. Exhale, let the hips go back. We'll rise on up into our crescent warrior. Reach those arms up high. And as we exhale, we open up warrior two once more. So bend in that left knee, right foot is sealed. Straighten that left leg, little bit of a micro bend in there. Reach that left hand forward, right hip is pushing back. So sometimes we don't stay in this pose and just feel. I want you to feel that muscle pulling up into that left hip. Kind of get a stretch behind that quad. Feeling extra sassy for 3. For 2. Dropping that left hand down, right arm is reaching up high. Shine that heart bright. Choosing to find perfection within this posture. Exhaling that right hand on down. Left hand is framing the foot. Revolve that back foot, low runner's lunge, just for a breath so you can find that weight in that left foot. Step that right foot forward, folding on over the legs. You might notice the bend in the knees becomes slightly less, or maybe it's still pretty there, and that's okay. Taking just 2 more breaths here. Feeling the weight of the body. Good, let's inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to standing, reach up high. Exhale those hands down to heart center. Inhale the arms up. We find a side bend to the right. Back to center. Side bend to the left. Back to center, reach up high. And as we exhale, we let the hands come down to heart center. Finding the strength in that left leg. It's nice and strong, nice and sturdy. Right foot starts becoming light. Let's lift it up into a pillar pose. Feel as the opposites pull. Finding this perfect balance within the posture. For 3, for 2, lift that right knee up a little higher, and as you exhale, bend that left knee. We step that right foot on back, not as far as a high lunge, but getting ready to set up for a pyramid. So all 10 toes are facing the front or back front. Hips are nice and even. Spine is long. Allow the hands to come to the hips. And like we're tucking in that pelvis, begin to fold on over that left leg. Wowza, maybe you stay here. Maybe it's still a little too early. Or the hands make their way all the way down to the earth. Option of also having the hands on the quad of the left leg and allowing that spine to be long. We're here for 3. We're here for 2. We're here for 1. We lift with the heart. Reach those arms up high. And as we exhale, we turn to the right. 5-pointed star. Taking up space here. And we exhale, fold on over the legs. Toes are coming in, heels are slightly coming out. A sway side to side might feel perfect, or you just embrace that stillness as the body becomes heavy. Allowing yourself to find the perfect mix that works for you right now. We'll inhale, come up halfway. And as we exhale, we start making our way towards those right toes. We're now facing the front of the room as all 10 toes face the front. The hips are pulling back. We're kind of going backwards in our pyramid. And then we find a bend in that right knee, low runner's lunge. Really embracing the stretch in the left hip. Gently bring the hips back. Left knee comes on down. Untuck the toes. Inhale those arms up overhead. Finding your version of perfect on this opposite side. Exhale the hands on down, framing the foot. The hips are going on back, right toes up towards the sky. Drag that right heel, gently humble over that right leg. Start walking those hands towards that right foot. Bring that weight to that right foot. Bend in that right knee. We tuck the back toes under. Lift that back leg. Inhale those arms up overhead. Crescent warrior. With the next exhale, we open up warrior two, sealing that left foot down, bend in that right knee. Noticing the breath here and finding the middle. We'll have the hands come to heart center. And we start shifting that weight to that left leg, bend that left knee. Maybe the hands come down as you find Skandasana, right toes up, bend in that left knee. A version that I sometimes like to find, I know it gets tricky, is walking the hands kind of in the middle of the legs, getting that stretch behind that right leg, and still working that left leg at the same time. Seeing if I can guide the left heel down to the earth, because my heel is floating. I don't know if yours is or not. Yeah. So as you gently breathe and see if you can guide that left heel to the earth, get a nice little stretch and strength happening there. All right, walk those hands back and close to the body. And you can let the hands come to heart center as we switch our weight on over towards that right leg for that Skandasana. Or you can keep those hands grounded down. It's just whatever you're feeling today. But we find that bend in that right knee. Left toes are coming on up. And start to settle in. If you like that stretch, kind of right in the middle, guiding that right heel down. Find that. If you tried it and you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe you try something different. All right, let's walk those hands back in towards the center of the body. This is going to be kind of a big move. So we walk those hands to frame the front of the room or back towards the front of the room, framing that right foot. All 10 toes are facing the front. Left hand stays planted down. Right arm is reaching up high. Exhale that right hand on down, framing that foot. Step that right foot back to meet the left high plank. Bring the knees down, the chest and the chin down, so the bum is up towards the sky. Keep those arms close in towards the body, and then scoop that heart forward, untuck the toes, baby cobra. Exhale, lower the forehead down to the earth. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And open the arms out to the side. We're going to roll onto that left outer hip. The legs might stack on top of each other. The right hand comes in close and towards the body. The legs can stack on top of each other, or that right foot kind of hangs out behind that left leg as that left side of the head stays planted down towards the earth. Let me take a few breaths here. Alrighty, we'll come back to center with that next breath. Allow that left hand to come in close to the body. Right arm is reaching out long. Roll onto that right outer hip. The legs can stack upon each other. Or that left foot kind of hangs out behind that right leg. Just a few more breaths here. Good. Come back onto the belly. And lift the head. Hands are planted underneath the shoulders. Lift on up into your tabletop. Adjust as needed. And we tuck the toes under. Lift the hips up high, downward facing dog. Noticing what this feels like. The left foot stays grounded down as that right leg reaches up high. Exhale, step that foot in between the hands, low runner's lunge. Finding that strength in that right leg as we lift the torso on up, crescent warrior. And we exhale, open up into our warrior two, bend in that right knee, sealing that left foot on down. Inhale those arms up, right toes are angling in, left toes are now facing the back of the room. And then we switch. So we're back to the front. Right toes facing the front, left toes angling in. Push that left hip back towards the back of the room. Open up those arms. So left hip is pushing back. Right arm is reaching forward. Feeling that stretch behind that right leg. We keep everything lifted. If the left hand needs to come onto that left hip, let it come to the left hip. And I want you to embrace that stretch behind that right quad. Good, reach a little further with those right fingers. Exhale that right hand on down as that left arm reaches high. Feeling the space being created here. As you settle into your perfect triangle. Allowing that left hand now to come to the left hip. We're gonna have a really big move. So we're gonna find a bend in that right knee. Start shifting that weight into that right leg. And then we're gonna lift that left leg up into pillar pose. We might wobble, we might fall, we might step the foot down, but we're meeting in our pillar pose. Right foot is grounded down, left leg is lifting. Keep the left toes flexed. Lift that left knee just a little higher. Exhale that left foot on down. Maybe wiggling out the legs and settling into your mountain pose. The eyes might close or become soft. But experiencing this idea of perfection within the body as it settles in, as it finds these moments of peace. We'll inhale those arms up. Exhale them down to heart center. Heel toe the feet open. Toes are facing out, heels are facing in. We bring that thumb on down into our yogi squat. Some days perfect. It looks like a block underneath the bum or the heels lifted. But embracing where we are in the present moment as we settle into this idea of perfection. With our next breath, we bring that bum on down to the earth. Extend that left leg long, right foot is tucking on in, a little seated tree. Turning that torso on over towards that left leg, keeping the left toes flexed, spine is long. We reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge from those hips as you fold on over. Being aware of the stillness of this pause. As we find perfection in this present moment. We inhale, lift that torso on up. Let's roll onto that right outer hip, and that left leg is reaching on back. As we find our pigeon posture. The right hip might still be feeling pretty tight. That's okay. We're taking our time here. Left toes could still be tucked under or just relaxing. Becoming aware as the body gently starts finding a little ease, a little comfort. And with this ease and comfort, you might begin to settle the torso down. Relaxing the body as it patiently finds ease. If your body allows it or feels comfortable with it, the right hand will reach forward just slightly, And the left arm will thread underneath the right for a little threading of the needle action here. It will gently rest on that left shoulder and left side of the head. And again, if you want a little bit more, maybe that right hand reaches up and behind, reaching for those right toes, just kind of interlacing everything. If at a point in time you're trying one of these postures and you stop breathing or you notice contraction or tension in the body, back out and find the posture before. If you were all twisty, begin to gently release the binds. And we all begin to patiently lift that torso back up. Reach that right leg back. So you're kind of in this tabletop posture. Bring the hips down, the belly, the chest, resting on either the right or the left side of the head. And embracing the stillness of this neutral. And we'll begin to lift the torso on up. Bend the knees into our tabletop. Keep walking those hands back towards the knees. And then swing the legs on around. Right leg is extended out. Left foot is tucking in. Seated tree. So we're moving all over our mat. Right toes are flexed. Spine is long. Reach those arms up high. Take a breath in. And that breath out, we hinge from those hips as we fold over that right leg. Being patient and kind. As we gently make our way there. Our next breath, we lift on up. Now, we have the hands frame that left knee. And then start walking those hands towards the back of the mat. We roll onto the left outer hip. Kind of come onto that shin as we find our pigeon pose, back of the mat with that left knee forward, right leg extended back. Taking the same progressions as the other side. Maybe you move a little quicker on this side or a little slower. But staying connected with the breath. As you ease into your version of the perfect pigeon. If you want to twist a little more, that left hand is reaching forward. Right arm is threading underneath that left arm. Right side of the head is relaxed on down. And you embrace that stillness. Or if you want a little extra binding on top of that, that left hand becomes light and you allow that arm to come behind the back, finding those left toes and grabbing on. Spending 3 more breaths here. And after that third gentle breath, you'll patiently begin to unwind if you took any twisting or turning of the arms. And then we begin to kindly lift the torso up. Shift your weight forward ever so slightly. And allow that left leg to extend back. Start making our way onto our belly as you settle in this neutral posture. The gaze might fall the opposite way that it did the first time around. But choosing to find peace here. To embrace that perfect stillness. As we begin to become more aware of the breath, we notice our inhales push the belly into the mat or the mat into the belly. And as we exhale, the belly makes its way towards the sky. Inhale, push that belly, puff it out. Exhale, find the space. Noticing your own breath at your perfect pace. Sweetly guiding the breath. All right. So let's lift the torso slightly up. Hands are planted, forearms are down. And I want you to move the belly slightly over to the right and then wiggle those legs, wiggle the arms. You might even find a little extra lift. We're basically on the long side of the mat on the right side. Now, we roll onto that left shoulder and find our back. Ideally, we should be right in the middle of our mat. If not, adjust yourself as needed. And after you've adjusted yourself as needed, we find a bend in the knees. So the knees are facing the ceiling, soles of the feet are planted down. Fingertips might graze the heels. And the knees are close but spacious. We push the soles of the feet into the mat and lift the hips up. Exhale, come down halfway. Inhale, push to the sky. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, push high. Exhale, halfway. Continuing this at your own breath pace. If it feels better to allow the hips to fall fully to the mat before lifting them up, please find that version instead. As you're moving in this moving bridge, beginning to become aware of those small micro movements that happen in order for your body to feel perfection. The next time the hips are up, we'll keep them up. We're here for 5, for 4, for 3, push a little higher. And begin to gently lower the hips back down to the earth. Extending that left leg long. And allow that right foot or that right leg to open. So half of our little butterfly or our Janu Shirshasana on our back. Without that connection though to that inner leg, or if that connection feels right, let it be connected. We might become aware of the space that's created. We're working one side at a time. We're able to ease the right hip a little more. I lift that right knee up to the sky. And switch sides. So bend that left knee. Right leg is extending on out. Open out that left leg to the side. And welcome in that ease on this left hip. Just 2 more breaths here. And kindly lifting that left knee back up towards the sky, sealing that left foot on down. We'll bring both of the knees to the chest now, giving ourselves a nice big hug. If it feels right to find circles with the knees to get that little low back massage one way and then the other, find that. Maybe you stay in stillness or allow the arms to open out wide. The knees will fall to one side, doesn't matter what side you start with. And you choose to settle in your expression of the posture as you explore the breath. Making sure you allow the time to explore the opposite side as well. And eventually finding any final postures that feel right for our body as we settle into our final resting pose. But take your time to discover, to explore, to welcome in perfection. Patiently allowing yourself to settle in this final resting pose, the Shavasana. Gently swaying the head side to side. Maybe the shoulders and the hips sway a little. And allow yourself to settle. To discover and explore the stillness. Allow ourselves to rest here for about 4 to 5 breaths. Welcoming in this idea of perfection. We begin to bring awareness now back into the body, back into the breath. Choosing to discover the wiggles of the fingers on the toes. Welcoming in these larger movements with each breath. Eventually lengthening out long. And with the next breath, bringing the knees into the chest for a nice sweet hug. We kindly roll to the right or the left side. Taking a few moments here to reflect on that idea of perfection. Perfection is what we discover in each other, what we see reflected back. Making your way up to a comfortable seated position, keeping the eyes closed or soft. And we bring the hands to heart center as we bow our head in gratitude. Grateful for this day, for this breath, for this beautiful life that we're given. And just like our idea of perfection, the light, the love, and the spirit in me humbly sees and bows to the light, love, and spirit in you. Namaste.